Good day to all. My name is Dumisang. I am an engineer that holds a BSc and MSc in electrical engineering. I currently work for the power utility in South Africa called Eskom, and I hold a position of corporate specialist in power lines. Today's panel of discussion is about CPD. CPD is continuing professional development, and I think before I share my experience in this field, I think it's good to start by just looking at what is CPD. CPD is a planned acquisition of knowledge, expertise, experience, and skills necessary for the execution of professional and technical duties in the profession. Now, in my view, what is the goal of CPD? I feel that CPD speaks to the fact that your learning and development does not stop once you are professionally registered. This is similar to graduating. Once you get that degree, it is just a starting point. Now, to be successful, effective, and efficient when executing your duties, you should stay abreast with changes and trends in your profession. So the key goal then of CPD is to ensure that you benchmark your work and services against the best practice globally. Now, I'd also like to mention that I am the founder and president of Inspire the Next movement, where my mission is to empower and inspire the next person by connecting dream achievers with dream chasers. This is achieved by hosting events, typically that have 2 panel of discussions with our dream achievers, followed by a minimum of 2 hours where we do Q&A sessions. I truly believe that if you want to go far and you want to go fast, you need to get coaching and mentoring from giants who have already walked that path. Why would you want to fall 100 times when you can only fall 10 times when you stand on the shoulders of giants? Today, I want to share my experience and knowledge that I have gathered or accumulated as a volunteer of EXA since 2009. And more specifically, I want to share my experience as the member of the CPD committee at EXA. Who is EXA? EXA is the Engineering Council of South Africa, and they regulate the profession with the sole interest of protecting the people and the environment. Now, one of EXA's very great achievements is that they are the only council in Africa, in the continent Africa, that is a member of the International Engineering Alliance. This is really great. Now, the IEA is a global non-profit organization which comprises of 41 authorities within 29 countries, with 7 international multilateral agreements. 3 of them are accords and 4 of them are competency agreements. Just a little description about these 2 types of agreements. The accords govern engineering educational qualification matters, and it was founded in 1989 by 6 countries: Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the United States. The competency agreements that govern professional registration was founded in 1997. Through these international multilateral agreements, the IEA establish and enforce internationally benchmarked standards for engineering education and expected competence for engineering practice, which obviously assists when we talk about mobility. So it enhances mobility within the engineering profession globally. The IEA aims to improve the quality, productivity, and mobility of engineering practitioners by being an accepted independent authority on best practice in standards, assessment, monitoring of engineering education, and professional competencies. The educational accords and the competency agreements described play an increasingly important role in the modern globalized economy. Now, we've spoken about Accords, which is education, which is basically graduating. And then we've also spoken about competency agreements, which is basically registering as a professional. Now, what is key to share is that graduates or engineering graduates, which is somebody who holds an engineering qualification, does not need to accumulate CPD points. Rather, what they do is they accumulate what we call initial professional development, IPD, which is any learning that is done to build and strengthen their area of competence. And this is done with the aim of registering as a professional. Once registered, the professional, once registered as a professional, it is very core to mention that this title is not lifelong. I think another thing that is critical to share in the engineering fraternity is that you need a minimum of 3 years to actually register as a professional. I forgot to mention that as part of the graduate. So after you get this accredited qualification, you need to have experience of a minimum 3 years before you can register as a professional. It typically takes longer than 3 years for any candidate to actually fulfill the 11 outcomes that are required for professional registration. Now, we are at a point where this candidate becomes registered as a professional. It is critical to say that this title is not lifelong. There was a time, I think about 15 years ago, where if you became registered as a professional engineer, which is the acronym that we use in South Africa, once you were a professional engineer, that title was lifelong. In the new registration system or the updated system, registration needs to be renewed every 5 years. And this is done by accumulating 5 CPD points annually or 25 points over 5 years. Now, as professionals in different industries, it is good for us to share our practices and then learn from each other. So I think it is good for me to share the 3 CPD categories that EXA uses to guide the candidates. The professional engineering professionals. Category 1 is development activities, commonly known as CPD accredited courses. These are courses that you actually pay to go attend, and they are normally given by an expert in a particular topic. And you obviously go there because you need to strengthen your competence or expertise in whatever field you practice in. So that is category 1. Category 2 comprises of 2 subcategories. The first one being work-based activities, where you qualify for a maximum of 2 CPD points annually, and this is done by doing engineering work for 3 hours, for 300 hours annually. So you can only claim a maximum of 2 points. The second subcategory is mentoring, where you qualify for a maximum of 1 CPD point for mentoring candidates for 50 hours annually. So you can only claim 1 point annually. Now, it's also crucial to mention that the mentor is the one who claims the CPD points. Category 3 is in individual activities, which is any postgraduate studies that you undertake. It's things like a master's, a PhD, if you do a diploma in project management, anything that is postgraduate. Now, when it comes to mitigating the consequences of the current prevailing economic conditions that make it difficult for employers to fund CPD accredited courses for their employees, EXA introduced claiming of points for any voluntary work done under category 3, which is individual activities. These activities can be anything like serving on council, serving in high impact committees, being an assessor, being a reviewer. So an assessor is somebody who reads the submitted application and checks that it has evidence against the 11 outcomes. It's a paper-based exercise. A reviewer is somebody who interviews a candidate who is applying for professional registration, and this is a verbal interview where the candidate has to demonstrate competence, and also it is a process of ensuring that what is written on paper indeed belongs to the candidate. I think I have said a mouthful. I'd like to end my introduction here, and I look forward to the panel of discussion. I'd like to thank all the viewers for joining us, and I'd more specifically like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this empowering and prestigious conference. Thank you.